Well, it's another day. I discovered last night that this is the old wear plate. I had to add a couple pieces in. I added a 1/2 inch strip in this area, and then I added a strip along the bottom. I just kind of spot welded or intermittent welded. They do stick up a little bit, but I'm sure the chains will wear it smooth. But I got the right and left done. That's the problem when you're working with stuff like this, and areas are hard to get into and measure. Chains are in the way. I suppose I should have made one out of cardboard, but oh, we got there. So I'm gonna start putting holes in things now. Try to get these bolted on. We'll continue on. That's a little status of the corn head. I got some of the new pieces on. Got the top bow on there. I got these parts chamfered and painted, little parts, so I'm gonna put these on. I got new stainless steel hardware, new driver for them, so I spent quite a bit of time the other day. The 3 holes that are this hole, and there's another one down here. Oh, it's these two. This one, and that one. I ran tap through those and got them all cleaned out, and the rest just used nuts. So we'll get those on. I still have to make a couple wear plates for these. Worn through. I tried getting these off the other day. They're stuck pretty hard. I think I'll just cut those off with a cutting wheel and put a piece of 1/4 inch, 3 by 3/4 inch. I'll bevel the ends, and that'll duplicate the original wear pieces, but they'll be a little more robust. So I think we're on the downhill side of this, and we'll see how this goes. Made a little progress on the cord head. I got the wear plates in it that I made, and then just reassembled everything. Nothing special about it. I did make 2 wear plates for this chain to ride on. I just like I said before, I cut the old piece off and just welded this to it, and tacked it on the front end just to help hold it on. I have to repair the bracket that goes here. That just needs to be welded. But everything else, I got this piece, straightened it out. That's the one that was folded over, attached to the end of this piece. I couldn't find one of those. I did this piece here. I did reverse this bracket. This bracket was on this side of it, which moved the plate closer to the drum. But on that side, it's on the inside. You can see it, and I did get another one at the junk dealer off the old Cornhead, but it's a little different vintage, but it still had the bracket on the same side, so I went ahead and moved that bracket over, and that gave us a clearance between this and the drum. This is the original piece. I had to do quite a bit of work to straighten it, but it was touching and wearing here, but that will eliminate that problem. I might pull that one over a little bit too. So, but everything's ready except this bracket I mentioned, and the old snout I got, it needs a little bit of a work here. I might put a plate over here, weld it, strengthen it. That's a big dent right there. But this piece broke off that runs down through here. I'll weld that back on and do a little work to that. But that's the last piece to go on. So hopefully we can get some corn chopped today. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure when I took my last video. Been working pretty steady trying to get this head working so we can get corn off before it rains. This is the second time I got it together. I got to do snouts on it. It required some adjustment, some work. Especially down here. These seem to get caught and tore up quite a bit. That bottom edge. But I did some welding and cutting and fixing on it. We only have 2 fields left. We went to the driest field to try it, and a little bit of grass in it. This isn't all the grass that plugged the head up, but I cleaned quite a bit of it out in the field. But we plugged the head up almost after a couple rounds. There's a lower gathering chain there that drives the cutting disc. That chain broke. I managed to find, I had one extra link from the gathering chains, and I was able to knock the rivets out and replace that broken link and got that working back together. We'll see how it does, and got all the covers back on. But this corn head's been quite a project. We can turn it by using that large crescent wrench. You can see the chains moving, head moving. We had to time these chains. You don't want those interfering or they'll break something, but the 2 inner ones, you have to time those together because this head is set up for 30-inch corn rows, and they touch down the middle. So they have to stagger each other coming down the middle, so you have to start there. Then you can do the outside chains. You can move a chain 2 lengths on the sprockets, which only gives you so much adjustment, but to do the fine adjustment, you have to pull that bearing over there, and you can slide those bevel gears over a little bit. And the two outside ones are what drive the outside chains. So you can push that bevel and move it a tooth or two to get the timing down where you need it. It's quite a process going through it the first time, but we got it pretty good. You always have to allow for stretching the chains. We did put new chains on, put 3 chains on it last year on that side. This is the chain. I took one of the links out, but it's timed pretty good. Close enough, as long as they're not hitting. So we're going to go down. We have, like I said, 2 fields left. The other field's a little wetter, but it doesn't have as much weeds in it. So we're going to go down and give that a try here in a few minutes. I have the white pulled up to the shop here so we can fix a few little nagging issues that have arose. For years we've had this, we've never had to worry about the fluid level on the over-under clutch, and it's been going down recently. I got underneath. That hose clamp was rather loose. It looked like it had been fresh oil on it, so I looked everything over. Hopefully that's where it's leaking. It's a little wet around the drain plug, but I checked it and it was tight. So perhaps the oil was blowing from this and dripping over there and making everything look wet. So we'll just keep an eye on it. I was also missing a couple bolts in these guards, plates that bolt up. I had to replace this one and this one. The rest were rather loose, so I tightened everything up. And now this plate isn't too thick. It's what, 11 gauge, maybe a little thicker. This one looks to be about ½ inch, 7/16. I suspect these plates add some stiffness to the frame. Some of the comments I've seen on the internet, they don't recommend attaching tanks to these frame rails because they're not strong enough. They'll flex. So I think these probably add some strength because they are a little weak, and my drain plug was leaking. I think my last oil change, my gasket ended up in the bucket and I didn't realize it. So I drained the oil out of it. I got another gasket off of eBay for $6 delivered. That wasn't too bad. Got the oil topped off, both in the motor and the over-under drive. One thing I just got done was this low-level coolant sensor. It was leaking a little bit. I don't know what it is about these sensors, but these nuts always or bugger get off. It's hard to get in there with a wrench and with that terminal there, and they just always corrodes. I'm gonna put a little more of this on there, just a little bit of anti-seize, maybe keep it from rusting. That's the reason I replaced this sensor, was I couldn't get the original one apart. And you have to get the wire off before you can unthread the thing. I think I was finally able just to get it cracked a little bit and get it loose. And then I just threaded the sensor out and then cut it off. And this is a replacement aftermarket sensor I bought, but it works fine. But there's a jam, a nut and a jam nut on the back side. Those are 3/8 of an inch. And then this thread, the body of it's all plastic. It's 1/2 inch. So I took it out, held my finger over the hole while I put some pipe dope on it, plastic pipe dope. Tighten it back up, so hopefully that'll keep it from leaking. But I gotta get the hose out now and spray everything down. I probably should have taken the pressure radiator cap and relieved the pressure. I think it was a little more vigorous stream than what I had anticipated. So the last thing I need to do is change this solenoid, but I think I left it back home. I thought it was over here, but it wasn't. So I'm going to have to do that later date. So that's fixing of these little nagging things you just have to keep up with. I have about 20 hours until I have to change the oil again. It's right about 80 hours. So I guess, well, we were having to put oil in it every time we wanted to use it. So it was dripping pretty good. It was leaving some skid marks where you parked it. But everything else is working pretty good, and corn head's functioning. My son was supposed to show up and unload the wagon, so I can there's just a little bit left in the one field, and it'll be done with chopping corn, but he hasn't done that yet. I don't know about these farmers that think after working weeks and weeks at 80 or 120 hours a week, they need to take a little time off. I just don't know about that. But I talked about the knives, the rotary knives. Here and here, there's 2 rotary knives. They cut the grass and the corn off where the space had opened up between them. They wear. You run them at an interference, and they wear as you use them, and that was causing the plugging problem that we had over here on this side. Since I adjusted that, it's working quite well. See some evidence of mud from that last field. Have to ended up running through the middle of the field with the tractor and picker to open it up. You just have that field, you can't get around that one edge, so open it up from the middle, and then on that one side we're working from the middle out toward the edge. So I had the wagon this last time I was in there. I had the wagon. There's 3 places you can hook a wagon to on this chopper. Normally you have it there, but there's an intermediate and then another one there you can hook a wagon to. And what that does, it brings a wagon over, so the wagon is almost in line with the side of the chopper. So when you're opening fields up, it really helps. Any tree limbs or telephone poles or anything you need to get around. And that was that field that I damaged the head on. So, but I had left it over there when I was going through that wet spot, and I got enough load in the wagon that it was pulling the chopper crooked. So I'm going to get an empty wagon and well, when I take it down the road, I travel with it hooked there, and then I'm going to move it over and try chopping. So we're getting a straight pull on everything, and we're not pulling the chopper, skidding the chopper sideways. But my motor's working real well. I think that was actually a side window. I think I might have mentioned wiper motor, but I think it's a Ford window motor off some vintage. You had to get like a 9 and a 7 tooth, and I just matched up the tooth size. They have it's not very sophisticated. They have a collar here, and there's 2 set screws in it, and it just slides over the gear, and you tighten those set screws down. They're not supposed to tighten up on a tooth. They're supposed to tighten up in the valley between the teeth, but it's not very sophisticated, but it seems to work. But it's kind of a Rube Goldberg contraption to take apart and put together. You can't get a lot of the nuts and bolts in because they hit the case, and it just, you have to kind of piece it together and put this and then that and then the other thing together. But we got there. There we go. All right, well, I guess I'll get the hose out and wash off this antifreeze that energetically dribbled out. And I think that completes everything I wanted to do. Maintenance standpoint. I still want to get onto this exhaust, replace these pipes, correct size, and put that cross piece in here that's been cut out. I don't know why they did that, but someone did. Yeah, you can see the corner of the piece where they cut it off. And then there's another piece right here. You can kind of see the corner of it. So I'll get some bar stock and fit it in there and tack weld it, and then take it out and weld it solid. So I'd like to, well, this muffler needs a little bit of work. Possibly, I get an old rusted out one, make a replacement muffler. I have access to laser cutting of steel. So I do a lot of the design work and CAD layout. So I'll model it up in SolidWorks and possibly I could even make it out of stainless if it wasn't so expensive. And for diesel, it's not really necessary. It doesn't get that hot. Put some good paint on it. So, yeah. All right. Well, the corn chopping's done for the season. That was a muddy field. And hard on the pickup head running that mud through it. As long as you don't get a rock here. All right. Don't want that being fed into the knives, causing any problems. But she got through. I don't know. You wouldn't have got through there with even a four-wheel drive assist. This articulation motion, you can normally keep crabbing and keep crawling through, kind of crawling your way through, crabbing, whatever. Of course, new tires wouldn't hurt. And next year I'll have to put those wear plates on this side of the head and then make some for the middle. I looked at that high molecular weight plastic, and it's not that expensive. McMaster-Carr has it. I might see about exploring the possibilities of that if I can bend it. It's supposed to be a self-lubricating plastic. I don't know if you heat it up to bend it. I suppose that you wouldn't get it that hot that you would drive the oil out of it. So, yeah, we'll see.